In 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome to the 5G podcast.
My name is Steven.
My name is Trevor.
We hope you enjoy our conversations about God, guns, gaming, goals, and gastronomy.
Our point is to provide a honest, down-to-earth conversation between two average guys.
Thanks for watching and hope you enjoy. Alrighty.
Cool.
Tell me about what you wanted to talk about with The Last of Us.
Yes, so, we talked about the show briefly and then, adapted from the video game, whatever. It's an apocalypse, post-apocalyptic. But there's something it was an interesting scene I really enjoyed that got my creative juices flowing, about how we kind of take certain comforts for granted or certain, scientifical advancements, right? Because in an apocalypse, you don't have the modern day conveniences that we have. So there's one scene in particular, the main character Joel, he's siphoning gas from a car. So he's got the tube down to his into the fuel tank of a truck or whatever, and then down to his gas tank, and he's blowing into it. And the little girl with him is 12, 13 years old or whatever. She's grown up in this whole apocalypse. It's 20 years after the fall of man or whatever, so she doesn't know anything. So he's siphoning gas from the car, and she's like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "Oh, it's a siphon." And she goes, "Well, how does it work?" And he goes, "Well, it's the pressure and the..." I don't really know. I just know it works. Okay, so that's his point there. And she's like, "All right, whatever, old man." So that got me thinking of little things like that in an apocalypse. Would you even be able to explain how a siphon works, or how does a satellite work? It's up in space, goes around the Earth. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it just reminds me of, I saw a Reddit post. This is a little while ago, and it was well, how do I explain it? It was some guy who was he was talking about programming and coding and stuff like that, and he was like, don't feel bad if your program is ugly if it works. Remember, you're talking about a rock we beat into submission and shoot electricity through. That's what a computer is we flattened a rock and said zap.
That's pretty good.
And so it's like, if it works, right? And so that's kind of because if in an apocalypse, technology just goes kaput basically.
Yeah, it stops advancing, assumedly. There's no...
Yeah, well, and it obviously degenerates rapidly because there's no one to upkeep the infrastructure that maintains technology.
Yeah, because power grids are down.
Yeah. And how long would it take for... Because you have to have society reform to be able to have infrastructure to produce technology, right?
Yeah, you kind of have to go through all the ages of advancement again. You got to do industrial era and
well, at least at least go back to the Iron Age, where you're the blacksmith on iron and stuff like that, because it in a post-apocalyptic scenario, all of the buildings would start to crumble, revealing their I-beams, which are steel, and so you would have easy access to steel.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're not at the Copper Age, where you're trying to find copper ore and melting it in a crucible, a rudimentary fire crucible. So you do have steel and you can heat steel up in a furnace.
Yeah, and assuming it's not so long, you do still have knowledge generally.
And there's still books.
Yeah, there is still books if you can find them and get them.
And even now, there's not really books.
Yeah.
So when was the last time you went to a library to check out a technical document or something?
I've thought about it a couple times. I've driven by the library and been like, I could go to the library and check out a book. Or I could just look it up online.
And then if you want to listen to it on Audible, it's $2.
Yeah, which is probably how much my library card costs. So
or just gas to get to the library.
Yeah, right. These days. Oof.
Yeah, but so I even think about that with not even technology, phones and computers and things like that, but even internal combustion engines.
Sure.
The combustion engines from the 50s or whatever that didn't require a computer in them, like today's combustion engines do.
Yeah.
But just going through and like, hey, you can't make that. First of all, good luck making that without electricity because you need a mill and a lathe and all this other,
those are skills an average person would have. Like,
no, well, yeah, that too, right? But even then, like, good luck trying to make like an internal combustion engine just from scratch. Like, oh yeah, I knew that there was pistons and like like even if you are like
involved somehow,
like and like there has to be a fuel mixture of air and gasoline, and it goes through a carburetor, and like I know a decent amount about engines. I'm not like a mechanic or anything like that, right? But like I know a decent amount about cars, and so if you're like me, I don't think I could build an internal combustion engine.
Well, no.
Like I would have no idea. Like if like my piston diameter is X, what is the piston diameter X equal in like your fuel to air mixture ratio and like amount even, right? It's like
I would need the internet to
exactly.
Or like and look things up.
A 1930s GM owner's manual or something like that.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. And then like going from that to like even like firearms and things like that. It's like, or even ammo.
Yeah.
Like you have guys who reload their ammunition and stuff like that, but they buy new bullets from companies. They buy new brass. You can reload the brass, right? But like you have to buy the gunpowder. Like how many people know how to make gunpowder?
Make gunpowder, yeah.
I mean I
do.
It's but you're a chemical.
I'm a chemical engineer. So
and I mean, like you could. It's like not the hardest thing to make because it's like relatively easy to make. But like smokeless powder, where they add other chemicals into it, it's not just black powder, right?
You can't just make that.
And then how are you going to rifle a barrel? Like rifling a barrel would be difficult. Making again, you need like machining equipment to make these like semi-automatic repeating firearms.
Yep.
Like you could make like a bolt-action rifle, surely, or a bolt-action shotgun.
Yeah. A black powder shotgun.
Yeah. You would literally go back to like smooth bore actions.
Yeah. So that's. Yeah, you've almost taken the idea of like what about the opposite? What if it's a prehistoric apocalypse of like what if you didn't have anything? You had to start from scratch, but you only had your knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, how good could you do?
Well, like, how would it go from, like if you have, like, you start at 100 of technology, and then you're going to go down to, when an apocalypse happens, there's, like a stair drop, right?
Yeah.
But then it plateaus again, because there is already a certain amount of stuff that exists already from that time period.
You can salvage.
Like, cars still exist.
You could find an internal combustion car. If the electronics don't work, go find an old car.
Exactly.
Be easier to get running, yeah.
Like, you could do that. But then as soon as, like, however many years pass where no one knows how to, like, repair that stuff or make new stuff, then you're going to drop down again.
Yep.
And it's going to be, like, not a...
The Stone Age?
But, probably just, like, an Iron Age type thing. Because there is the steel available, right?
Sure.
And people are, like, smart, and so they could go and, take the fenders of cars or whatever and melt it down and pound it into a sword.
Yeah, and then go hunting,
like
turn that into a weapon.
You could people are smart enough where they oh yes, I pound with rock, make sharp. Like
easy enough.
We've been doing that for hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah. There was a really interesting show I watched. It was an anime called Dr. Stone, and to sum up the premise, it is kind of that. Some humanity-wide apocalypse event where everybody got frozen in stone for 1,000 years, 10,000 years, some crazy long amount of time, right? But then the main character magically wakes up because he was and wound up in a bat cave or whatever, and turns out like bat guano mixed with nitroglycerin was the formula to break out of the stone, right? He just got lucky. But he's trying to basically rebuild society from scratch. And the part that's a little bit like supernatural is that this guy's just a genius. Like, he knows way too much. But all of the scientific concepts are real, which is cool. It's I even watched the one Mythbuster gal, the redhead. She watched an episode and reacted to it. She was like, "No, this is all legit. Like, this is all accurate." Like, he makes soap from scratch, which is really cool. He does gunpowder. He ends up. This is like a ways down the line, but it's one of the first things he makes is a he calls it a cell phone, but really it's a walkie-talkie, just two-way communication. He says this, and it even like animates his roadmap. He's like, I want a walkie-talkie. In order to get that, here's all the steps I need. So he's like, he's got to have.
Interesting.
He's got to find a glass, like a way to blow glass for one of his steps, right? So he's got to break down everything to like its most like simplest task. And so it was really cool in him trying to like rebuild civilization. He finds like a tribe of people who are kind of in like Bronze, Iron Age anyway. Sure. And so he finds an old craftsman there who's got like the steady hands that you need to blow glass. Because he's like, I couldn't do that, but I can tell you how to do it.
Yeah.
So that was another like related concept I found pretty interesting.
That is interesting. That's like have you ever seen the show The 100?
Yeah, I think I saw
it's like the one where there was like they had like the spaceship or whatever that was like the Earth got plunged into nuclear war, and then the Earth was like basically destroyed.
So they all lived on spaceships.
Well, like they all like were in like their international space stations or whatever, and they all like were like, well, the Earth is gone, so like let's team up again. Like humans go.
I guess we're fine.
Or something. But so they have this like big old spaceship or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
That like has a bunch of people in it, and it has like and it's been like hundreds of years for them to like go through, and so there's like new generations of people that were born in space.
Gotcha, yeah.
And then they send down like this group of kids to the Earth to like see if it's like habitable again, and it is. But then they figure out that all the humans didn't die.
Oh,
there's still like humans on the ground, and they're like there's like a bunch of different factions and stuff like that, and some of them are like not prehistoric tribes, but like basically like Iron Age, like Germanic tribe almost.
Yeah,
right?
tribalistic. Sure,
yeah, and they have like weapons and stuff like that. And then you have like there's like the governing agency that were like in Fort Hood or whatever, like the big old mountain fortress, like that like can sustain itself for like a gajillion years or whatever.
Interesting, yeah.
They have like the hydroponic farms and like the lab grown meat.
So they have all the infrastructure to keep going, whereas everybody else, you kind of have to revert to like hunter-gatherer, basically.
And so it was really interesting to see like the differences between like a civilization surviving with no new technology, but like still reasonably modern technology. A civilization that is like primitive and tribal, and then like a civilization that comes from the skies and is like, yes, we have all of the technology, because they still like were like innovating and stuff like that.
They were still advanced.
Yeah, and so they had like all the new like medical technology and stuff like that, because the people up in space were all like scientists and doctors, and like all the astronauts are like have PhDs in frickin' whatever. Right.
So if you're gonna preserve humanity, that's pretty good.
Well, and it's like there was like the Chinese ones and the Russian ones and the U.S. ones and the Indian ones.
All
and
they're
like
from all over.
Yeah, and so they all like gathered together and created this like space station. Like,
oh crap, we forgot the farmers. We don't know how to make food. Like,
yeah, I don't remember how they did that.
Yeah.
There was something with they figured it out or something.
Okay, yeah.
I don't remember. Yeah.
Oh no, we forgot politicians. How do we govern ourselves?
Oh no, no taxes. Darn.
Bummer.
Don't have to pay for diddly squat. Speaking of taxes, my brother just got a letter from the IRS telling him that he owes them $1,600 when he already filed his taxes through TurboTax.
Yeah.
And they told him he was getting a refund.
Ooh, that's rough.
And so the IRS is like, dude, you owe us $1,500 or $1,600
Did they,
or
like, audit him? Like, was it official?
I don't know how it worked. They just sent him a letter.
You're like, you owe us this much.
Yeah, but they also charge him interest for not paying his taxes on time.
This is the first time you're telling me about it.
Exactly.
What interest?
Like, TurboTax told him that he was going to get a refund. And so he was like, great, I don't need to send them any money, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Did he ever get the refund? I'm curious. Yeah.
No.
No,
I don't
okay,
think so.
He never did.
No.
That would have been my first clue. I mean, they're not always quick with sending in the refund.
No.
So unfortunately.
It took us there was one year where we got a refund that it took us like 6 months to get our refund. Like, we got it like the end of the summer.
I've heard of like businesses taking over a year. Like, I don't know if that's lower priority or if it's too big.
Do businesses get refunds?
Yeah, I think you can, yeah. If you
taxes are just like a mystery. They're just this ethereal being that
it's
barely exists.
created an entire profession of people to help you do taxes. It's like reciprocated.
Yeah.
If taxes weren't as complicated, we wouldn't need, what are they called, CPAs? Tax people.
Yeah, CPA. Tax guys.
Tax guys.
Accountants.
Accountant, that's the word.
Yeah, so it is CPA, Certified Public Accountant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, without, like, if tax code wasn't so complicated, we literally wouldn't need that.
No, we wouldn't. What's up, Mike? How's it going, man? You want to come in and join?
I gotta work.
But yeah, so it's like the my brother was calling my mom this morning and asking like, what do I do? Because TurboTax told me that I was gonna have a refund, and now they're like the government's telling me like, hey, you owe us money.
Do I pay him or do I wait till they come to my door?
And his point was like, if the government knows that I already owe them money, why do I need a tax person? Why can't the government just send me a bill at the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
And say, hey, you have until April 15th to pay this bill.
What? Yeah, I don't want to sound naive or whatever, but yeah, what is the IRS doing if they're waiting for us to do our taxes? And then they're just a boogeyman.
I've never understood like what the deal was with it.
Yeah, I heard that like, there was a big thing, maybe this was a year or two ago, that like they were signing 87,000 new IRS agents.
Yeah.
And everyone complained about that, like, oh, the IRS doesn't do anything. I'm like, wow. If they're doing our taxes for us, I'm okay with that. And then, they just send us a bill. But if it is literally just like 87,000 more guys to go, like, knocking door to door with guns, I'm like, hey, give us your taxes. Give us the taxes. Like, whoa, okay, that's a bit.
Like, all right, calm down. Calm down.
Whoa.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like, Ryan and I haven't received a refund for a little while. We just got one this year, though.
Oh, okay.
For last year.
Yeah.
But, like, the previous years, we owed money.
Mm.
And it was, like, dumb. I was like, why am I sending a check to the freaking government?
Yeah.
Like, this is so stupid. Like,
yeah. Yeah, I've only done it for a couple of years, but I always like to adjust it. So I try to get it where I'm just a little bit over where they have to send me something. That way I can file in my taxes and like I don't have to worry about anything else. You don't have to plan on a huge expense of like, oh, I gotta pay $2,000 in taxes.
Well, my in-laws, they just got their taxes. Well, not just obviously, but their taxes they owed like way more than they've ever owed. Oof. And like they didn't.
They're like,
get,
what
like,
changed? Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't get like crazy raises or anything like that, whatever. But they had to, like, it was like a $6,000 tax bill.
Wow.
And they didn't have that just like, they're not wealthy, right? They're like way middle class.
Sure.
And
$6,000, that's a huge expense. Like
that's a huge expense for anyone.
Yeah,
just like drop
all at one time. Yeah.
It's like normally if you're gonna spend $6,000, like you plan for it and save for it.
Like, okay, I'm gonna replace my AC next year.
But they've always gotten like refunds and stuff like that, or like owed like $100.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like whatever.
Sure.
Right. But like $6,000, they had to go and get like a loan, a personal loan out to pay for it because they just didn't have $6,000 lying around.
Yeah.
And so they had to go get a loan for it.
A personal loan to pay the government.
Yeah, it's like, well, this is.
You have to pay back your personal loan. Oh,
yeah.
Man. Who would you rather be in debt to, though? I guess. Probably not the government again. If they're going to come knocking on your door.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah. So it's like, what the heck, man?
I had a buddy of mine from work with a similar story. His wife had just started her own business or whatever, and she just wrapped it in with their like personal taxes for the first year, and maybe she made more than they were expecting or something, because he's like, yeah, we got hit with like $40,000 in taxes.
Whoa.
He's like, we're not doing that again. We're going to do our taxes quarterly for her business now. That way it's like, okay, now that at least they can plan on it each quarter instead of
$20K, holy cow, man.
all at once. He's like, I guess we're not doing, XYZ additions to the house this year or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that blew my mind when I heard that. I'm like, oh, never heard of that much.
Well, like, my parents do their taxes quarterly, but that's because my dad's businesses and and like the companies he works for do their taxes quarterly. So they send out tax documents quarterly.
Oh yeah.
And so my parents' accountant was just like, let's just do them quarterly.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay. Like,
sure enough.
Yeah. Fine. Like, I don't have to worry about it like for the rest of the year. Like, sure, why not?
Yeah.
Right. It's not like whatever. But yeah,
That's interesting.
I don't know. It sucks. Not a fan of the $20,000 is crazy now.
Yeah.
Like his wife must have done like something really good. Like what did she start? You know?
What's the word? Financial advisor?
Oh, yeah, they can make a lot.
I think. Yeah.
Make a lot. They can make a lot. I thought about doing that when I was in school. That was one of
Oh
my
yeah,
options.
because you started.
Well, I was doing so. At first, I started trying to just get into business school, and then I got in the accounting program instead of the finance program. So originally, I was like, "Oh, I'll get in and like go into the finance program." But then my dad was like, "Well, why don't we do accounting because you can go and back and get like a master's degree in finance and have an accounting background as well as the finance."
If that's
And that was like a double-edged sword, right? Not a double-edged sword, but like more bang for your buck.
Yeah, dual purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, that's like, okay. So I was going to accounting. And then I was miserable for like 2.5 years. And I was like, I want to kill myself.
Not for me.
And I was like, in like accounting 300 or something like 350, accounting 315 or something.
Some upper level course.
Yeah. And I was like sitting there and I was just like, I'm done with this. So I was taking like 17 credits or something like that. And I dropped down to 9.
Wow.
Because I dropped all of my business school classes and
Yeah.
I was just taking the other ones that I was doing. And then I finished that semester out and was like looking around for other majors, and then I was like, you know what? I did the intro class to my eventual major,
your current major,
facilities and property management class. And then I went and I took the intro class to the construction side because they're so related that like you had to take the intro anyway. So I was like, well, I'll just take that and like see how I like that class
Yeah.
to know if I really want to like spend like so much time doing construction and facilities and property management, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it, and so I was like, well, switching majors now, and then
Sign me up.
2 years after that, I was done. After freaking 2 full years of school without a summer break.
Yeah. I forgot you did summer in there. So you were only 4.5 years in the whole technically for swapping majors?
Yeah, 4.5 years.
Okay.
School. If you count the semester I did at MCC beforehand,
okay.
it goes to 5.
So you had some general ed.
Yeah.
Credits there.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, not really, because none of them counted.
No way.
Yeah. It was so frustrating.
Oh,
They counted as elective credits.
Which
For like some of them counted. So like a couple of my English credits counted. Some of like my social studies credits counted. I did like a world religions course and
that's fun.
the psychology course at MCC. And then those counted as like they didn't count for like the actual courses that they were, but they counted in like more than just like, oh yeah, it was like a credit that you got.
Yeah.
It was like it counted for something for like my generals.
Yeah.
But then like some of them like didn't count for anything at all, and I was like, well, that was a waste of time. But it wasn't because you got my grades up so I could get into a real university.
Better university, yeah, sure.
Yeah, because my high school grades.
Let's just seal those up. Nobody needs to
No,
look at those.
yeah, my weighted GPA was 3.1.
Not bad. That's B's.
That's weighted. My unweighted GPA was a 2.6.
Dude, the amount of like cheesing you can do in high school with weighted GPAs blows my mind. Like the valedictorian, right? That's the top one person.
Valedictorian or valedictorian?
Valedictorian, I think. The valedictorian, the number one, the head honcho of our course.
No.
What wasn't even in AP Calculus, which I considered, I mean, that was the toughest course at our school. And there were like 12 of us in AP Calculus. And we were in the top 1% because, we were taking other AP classes too. And so I was like number 13 in the class or whatever. But like numbers 1, 2, 3, like or even in AP Calculus, they just cheesed the system with all these stupid easy AP classes to get A's weighted, so counted as like a 5.0.
Yeah, that's so
GPA.
dumb.
And I'm like,
who was our valedictorian? Was it what's her name?
Shoot, I don't remember her name. But
yeah. All I remember is that like, I remember we were sitting around one time, and you were like, yeah, I'm like number 13 in our class, and I like looked at my class ranking, and I was like 272nd or something like that, and I was like, well, at least I'm above the halfway point.
yeah, there you go. I'm in the top 50%.
I don't even know what Caleb was. Yeah. Just like, do you remember what you were? Do you remember what number you were at?
3, solid 3.
Three something. Oh, your GPA was 3.
Yeah, 3.
That's better than mine.
Yeah, so
You're probably a higher like, I don't know, man.
is that kind of your GPA? Oh, I guess weighted GPA was 3. Okay, that's fine, and you were above.
Yeah.
Half.
Yeah. Yeah. So my weighted GPA was a 3. I think it might have been a 3.2 actually.
Mm.
But then I was really proud of myself in college because my MCC GPA was 4.0.
Oh yeah, nice.
And then my BYU GPA for my major classes was 3.7.
Yeah. I think that's kind of how mine ended up being. So I had the 4.0 in high school, but then I'm trying to remember. I think on my resume I put my actual GPA, but I should probably do my major GPA because I think it's better.
That's what I mean, like,
that's what's relevant.
they're not gonna care about your freaking like English class.
Yeah.
Like, so like when I had to take a global leadership class that was just so horrendous. I think we talked about this last time, where I would just like play Minecraft during COVID, and like I got a C in the class, but I did absolutely nothing. The entire time.
But it's not related to your major now, so who cares?
I mean, that class was just horrendous.
Yeah.
No one should have to take that. At least how it was taught, no one should have to take that class. Ever.
Yeah.
It was just a waste of time. And then the class that really got me though was statistics. Because at that point, I had taken like the business school classes and done reasonably well in them, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, if you can do like pass finance or econ."
Yeah.
Like I took econ from this guy named Professor Curl. And Professor Curl is one of the guys. Do you remember like this is years ago when Samsung and Apple were suing each other for like some technology infringement?
Yeah.
This is like when we were in high school.
I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
He was the economist on Samsung's side who won the case.
Okay. And now he's just like.
Well,
I'm sure he made bank from that.
So he teaches it.
Teaching courses.
So he teaches and like he's a tenured professor and all that good stuff, right? Like he's been teaching for a little while now. After that, he actually might have been a professor while he did that as well.
Wow.
Because I don't know. But anyway, his class is like really difficult, and so everyone was like, "Oh yeah, if you can pass Curl's class," and I got like a decent grade in that class for like how difficult it was, right? Like, yeah, if you can pass that class or like get a good grade in that class, statistics will be like no problem for you. And I was like, oh, great, fine. So I went into that class thinking like, okay, I got a B+ in the hard Curl class. So like if I just put like, you know, I don't have effort, like the same amount or like less effort towards this other class, I'll get like a B+, A-, right?
Sure, yeah.
Right? That logically tracks. Not the case.
No.
Just I could not for the life of me understand that class. I had to take it 3 times.
And it was required, right?
Yeah, it was a required class. The first time I took it, I dropped out of the class.
Yeah,
before I even like
before they cut off.
Yeah, and so I was like, I don't. I was also taking 18.5 credits.
That's
and they cap you at 18 unless you get permission or more. And so I had to drop another class.
Mental health concern.
Yeah. And so I had to drop down anyway, so I was like, well, I'll just drop this class because it's... Was it only 2 credits? No, it must have been 3.
Surely, yeah.
It had to be 3. Yeah, so I dropped it, so I was down at like 15.5 credits, which is much more reasonable. Still a lot. Yeah. I never understood this, that they consider 12 credits full-time.
Yeah, that's really weird. I had a scholarship, and I had to take 30 credits a year to keep my scholarship.
So that's 15 a semester.
So that broke down like 15 a semester.
12, and 6 during the summer.
Yeah, I didn't want to do summer, but...
Yeah. Well, so during this,
Except for one summer I didn't. I had to, but
yeah. But yeah, so like I did, so statistics I did 3 times, and finally the third time, like, I actually was like, I took it during the summer, and so it was like really fast paced.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
BYU does their summers in 2 terms.
Oh, jeez.
And so so their year is not 3 semesters, it's 2 semesters and 2 terms. And so each term is like half a semester, right? But you do the whole class in that term.
Wow.
And it's so that people can still do classes during the summer, but also still get summer break, is my guess.
I guess. Yeah.
Like, that's what I think they do.
You can still travel on the other 6 weeks or whatever.
And so we were doing that, I was doing that, and so I was able to just like, it was like 9 weeks or 6 weeks in that class or something like that, and just pedal to the metal, all statistics all the time, just like studying and homework, you know, doing the tests and stuff like that.
It's a hard summer.
And luckily it was like a hybrid class, so it was, the homework was all online and the lectures were all online.
Yeah.
But it was like in-person lectures, like Zoom lectures.
Yeah.
But attendance wasn't required. So it was basically an online class.
Yeah.
So what I was able to do is I was able to skip the lecture, but then go back and watch the recording at 2 times speed.
There you go. Yep.
And just take as many notes as I could, and then like if there was something I didn't understand, I would slow down and like work through it and stuff like that. But I was able to zoom through that class, and I got an A.
Nice. Wow.
Maybe an A minus.
That's a better use of your time though than.
Yeah, because I was working, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I'd go to work and work all day, not all day, but like, you know, 8 to, well, depending on the day. Some days I was going from like 8 to noon, and then some days it was 8 to 6.
Yeah. You just can't predict it.
So, but then I would come home and just do statistics. Oof. And so I had that summer term I had statistics and like a religion class, which
that's easy. Online as well, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually fully online, so I didn't even have to like
Yeah.
go to like a lecture or anything like that.
Some of my favorite online courses, like either before or after COVID, I think they were both like they're designed to be online courses that were like 3 credits. So a couple of my like 18 credit semesters was I would take like Elvis as an online course. Elvis. Yeah.
Man, you took some dumb classes.
I needed like an upper level humanities, fine arts course or something like that, and so I somebody recommended it to me. They're like, yeah, you should do one of the music classes. So they had like an Elvis class, like Beatles, a couple other ones. So yeah, it was an all online class. I don't even remember there being lectures. I think there were movies, like documentaries, and like quizzes about Elvis.
See, for my fine arts credit, I had to do something similar, right? Where it's like, take these, and I was like, dude, none of these look entertaining at all. So I was on there, and I was like, what is like the most like interesting one? Like the most random thing? It's like not like 90s rock music or something like that, right? It's like
some Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, it's like, so I did a German and Scandinavian film class.
Oh.
And it was actually a really cool class.
Okay.
But like, not in like the best way possible.
Thanks.
It was the weirdest part. It was so just random. We're watching movies that you've never even thought about.
No, yeah.
Not even like never heard of at all. And they're just so random, and like most of them are pretty boring. Like what was this one? It was like, shoot, I don't even remember what it was called. But like we watched a couple like silent films.
Oh.
And like, so the class was set up. It was a Tuesday Thursday class for 3 hours.
Because you're just watching a movie.
Because you watch a movie. So we watch a movie every single day, or Tuesday and Thursday.
No way.
So on
That's
Tuesday,
a lot.
we would watch a movie, and you had to take notes during the movie about the movie, right? So the first like 2 weeks of the class, they were teaching us about film, right? Mm-hmm. And they were like, okay, analyze this, and this, right? Whatever. And like using this camera angle and blah blah blah. They taught us all this terminology, and then we would watch a movie, and we would have to write notes about it.
Yeah.
And then we had to use like that terminology, like, oh, I really like when they use this aspect and this shot. this coloration and this mise en place or whatever, right?
French words.
Yeah, a lot of French words. And then what we would do is then the next class period, the first 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how long the next film was, we would talk about the previous film using our notes.
Okay.
And our professors would be like, so it was the double professor course, which was interesting. They would come in and be like, okay, so what did you think? Blah, blah. And this is what they would think about it, and like what message does this bring and whatnot, because everything needs to have some meaning.
Sure.
It's like, why do you think they chose the color red for the roses? Because roses are red? Like, stuff, super dumb stuff.
Amazing.
Right?
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
So insightful.
And so we did that for like the entire time. No midterm. So we had to turn in our notes once or twice. Once at midterm time,
just to
turn in our notes, and like they went through and like were like correcting stuff, and like we got like a real score on it, but like, it was basically participation. Right?
Yeah.
And then the second time was the same thing, and then the final exam brought my grade from a 98 to like a C plus.
Yikes.
Because it was worth like 20% of our, no, more than that. It was worth like 30% of our grade.
Jeez.
But like, it was ridiculous. They would play, so during the course of the semester, we could watch probably
that
24 films,
I
think is what it turned out to. 24 films.
Just the first 2 weeks, yeah.
And we had to know, and like, these are like movies, right?
The full length. Yeah.
Like, some of them were like 3 hours. Some of them were like 50 minutes, right? But some of them were literally 3 hours. And they would show you one 10-second clip of any of those movies, and you had to know what it was.
Yeah.
And then they would play 1 minute of sound, and
No
you had to tell them what movie it was
from.
And then you had to know the year the movie was made, the director, the cast member name, like the lead actor / actress name, like all of this stuff. And I was trying to study for it, and I was like, this is just way too much. Like, how am I supposed to do this?
You're supposed to rewatch every movie and memorize it?
Yeah. And then, so we had that final exam. Then our final project was oh my gosh, this was ridiculous.
You had to film a German and Scandinavian.
No, so we did have to do a film.
Oh, okay.
We had to do a mashup film that was showed in front of our class. That was a mess.
Oh, jeez.
It was a mess. There was some of it. It was so frustrating because like my group was like, yeah, we'll make this cinematic masterpiece.
Right.
Which, it was not a cinematic masterpiece, but it was all right.
It was
like
it was a piece.
Like in my group, there was a couple of film majors.
Oh,
and so like they had like done some stuff like that before. So I was like,
that's cool. That's cool.
Great, I'll be here.
But I'm finance. I'm just
yeah.
here.
Yeah. At this point, I wasn't trying to get into the finance.
I'm just here for easy credits.
Yeah. And so I was like doing this project with them, and like I was like, okay, so ours looked really good, at least like decent, right? And there was some who theirs just looked like junk, like they filmed it on a potato.
Oh no.
And like there was like no like substance behind it, and it had to be like between 12 and 15 minutes long or something like that. And every day that they got shown, because there was a bunch of people in the class, right? So they would get shown throughout the class, and like everyone would vote on who was the best that day, and then at the end, everyone who got voted the best of the day got put up against each other again.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And they got like extra bonus credit or something like that on their final project, whatever. Yeah. And I was like looking at mine, and like by no means was our like the best of the best, but like we got like 0 votes because it wasn't moving enough. And like didn't have enough substance behind it. And like some film that like had like a potato as the camera.
Filmed on a flip phone, like.
Yeah, like a Nokia. And like it was just like, and like filmed in some apartment in like an hour.
Jeez.
Got like standing ovations. Not actually, but like effectively, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, what the heck, man? And so we had that as like a final project. We had 3 final projects. We had the test, final things, the exam, which was stupid, the movie, and then we had to write a paper, a 10-page paper, which 10 pages, okay,
it's acceptable for the final,
about one of the films you watched. But only about 30 seconds of the film.
What?
So 30 seconds of one of the films that we watched.
You can pick any 30 seconds?
Any 30 seconds.
Okay.
And you have to analyze that for 10 pages.
I was with you until you said the 30 seconds. I was like, all right, that's pretty reasonable. Like, sure, yeah.
30 seconds.
Well, don't pick the silent film because then you lose a whole
I
sense.
did.
You did. I was like, oh man, but you could have talked about the sound for at least like 2 pages, surely.
I talked about the silent film.
You talked about the lack of sound for.
Well, so they had like a soundtrack. It was just there was no voices. Right?
Yeah.
Because that's how they used to do it. They used to play like the instruments,
Which is the
while
sound
the movie
effects.
was going, right?
Yeah.
So I would I wrote about some of the sound choices that they used
In 30 seconds.
and then yeah.
That's,
And then like some of the framing and like the angles and like the expressions on the characters' faces and like all this stuff.
man.
And like at first I was just writing it and then like I was like, okay, I'm gonna write down all of my thoughts about this. And not even like pay attention to page count. I'm just gonna like not even sentences, no editing, I'm just gonna like ideas on the page. And I did all of that. I did all of that. And I was like, yes, this is great. And I was like looking at the list of terms, like, can I do this, yes, great. And I ended up and I was like, great, this is awesome. And before formatting, I had 2 pages. If I had formatted that and like edited it and stuff like that, I probably would have ended up with like 3, maybe 3.5.
Paragraph breaks.
Yeah, exactly. And I was
That's
like,
funny.
are you freaking kidding me? I still need 7 pages of junk.
Let's rewind the 30 seconds and let's flip it upside down and see if we find anything new to talk about.
It was
Let's
so
play it in reverse now.
it was so dumb. And so all I did, I was like, okay, what do I do? And so I literally just went on like rants inside of the paper about certain stuff, and I got like a B- on the paper, and I was like, I'll take it.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
good
I'll
enough.
take it. It was such a waste of time.
10 pages.
It took me like 6 hours. I was just in the library. So at the end of my classes that day, I went to the library. And there was this spot in the library that I found that was like no one sat there, and it was just like this one desk.
It's always open.
Hidden behind these bookshelves.
Nice.
And there was an outlet for like my laptop. And so I set up my laptop and I was just sitting there and I was just typing. And this is before Ryan and I got married, right? So I was going home to an apartment full of rowdy dudes.
Yeah,
Which was a fun apartment, let me tell you.
fun, but if you got to do
homework, not a great place to be.
Yeah.
There was a lot of firecrackers thrown in that apartment.
From inside the apartment, they're just checking a firecracker in the living room, or
yeah. Like,
oh, okay.
Like they would like.
The people were like assaulting your apartment.
No. Like if I was like in my room, so there was 3 rooms and then like the main area.
Okay.
And there was 2 guys in each room. So I was sharing with a friend, and then there was 2 guys and then 2 more guys.
Jeez.
And so what would happen was, and it was like a 1,500 square foot apartment, right? It's not massive.
Yeah.
But like if your door was closed, you were just gonna like firecrackers just like thrown in there and the door shut, and you didn't even know who it was. And my desk faced away from the door, so I'd like hear the door shut, and I'm like, oh crap, cover my ears real quick. But yeah, so if like I wanted to do anything, I had to find this like one spot. This apartment, though, one of the fun things, these firecrackers were fun, but when you got woken up by them, like there was one day I fell asleep on the couch in the living room, and I was just like dead tired because I had to work at 5 o'clock, and I had stayed up really late the previous night hanging out with these guys, right? And so I had come back from school, and it was like one of my long days of school where I was like at campus from like 8 o'clock in the morning until like 4 p.m. or something like that of classes. And I'd come home and I'd just crash on the couch. And they put a bunch of firecrackers in a pan with a lid on it and put it right next to my head. I was like, oh my gosh, you guys suck. But that apartment was also like, I have stories. So one of the funny stories was I woke up for work one morning at 5, and I went out to my car, and it wouldn't start. The battery's dead. And I was like, what? It's like 5 in the morning. I can't
freezing cold outside.
Yeah, and work is like 4 miles that way, right? Yeah, and it's snowing outside and like really cold. And I was like, crap, man, what am I gonna do? So I called my boss and I explained to her the situation. I'm like, hey, like I'm gonna try to like get there as soon as I can, but you might not be able to count on me today. Like, sorry. And she was like the best boss I've ever had. She was super understanding.
Yeah.
She's super nice. And so I'm like sitting there, and as soon as I get off the phone, I like hang up the phone, and my buddy walks in the door, coming home from his like night out.
Yes, yeah, he told me this.
At like 5 in the morning, and I was like,
like,
he's like, I'm like, what are you doing, man? He's like, I'm going to bed. I'm like, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. He's like, yeah,
I'm going to
well,
work.
You know, I was like, can you give me a ride before you go to bed? So I got to work on time.
Wow.
I was like 2 minutes late.
Yeah,
Which is like effectively on time, right?
Weird odds, but you'll take it.
Yeah. And then a bunch of times I woke up and I would walk out and on the couch was just like 2 of my roommates and like 2 girls.
Yeah, just.
And I'm like,
Okay.
and the first time I did it, I was in my underwear. The first time it happened. I like
Yeah.
walked out and then like, you know, I'm expecting everyone to be in bed. So
Yeah.
I turned on like the kitchen light, right? And I'm just standing there in my underwear and there's 2 girls on the couch and my 2 roommates and I'm like, oh. So I went and got Tim on. And like I was like, oh crap, so I turned off the light and like tried to do everything quietly.
Yeah.
Then towards the end of the semester I was just like fully dressed, lights on, kitchen going, like making myself
Making pots and pans, making breakfast. Like,
making my breakfast and my lunch because I would take lunch to
Mhm.
school, right? So I could just stay over there. And yeah, so I just like be making lunch and they wake up and they're like, morning Steven. Morning.
Hey.
They're like, good night. I'm like, good night.
It's 5 in the morning. Time to wake up.
And they would do that all the time. That was like multiple occasions.
That's wild.
Yeah. The funniest one was my buddy I caught him making out with this chick who we both knew.
Mm.
And like I never thought they were completely different types of people, right?
Yeah.
And like I walked out in the morning and they're still sitting on the couches making out and I was like, good morning, Kayla. Good morning, Anthony. How are you guys? And they're like, morning, Sharpie. Because they both knew me from my last name, right?
Oh, yeah.
So they, yeah, and it was like,
A little awkward.
I'm going to work. And they're like, yeah, have fun. It's like, you too. Have a good time.
That's so weird.
And then they borrowed my tent to go camping.
I don't know. I was about to say, I don't need to know what they did borrow your tent.
I made sure
for.
he washed it.
You know what? You can have that tent. I don't want it back.
He's like, he goes, Steven, do you have a tent? It's like, yeah, I got a tent. Who do you think I am? Of course I have a tent.
Of course I have a tent.
He's like, do you have it up here? I'm like, of course I have it up here. What do you think I do in my free time?
Yeah.
Not that I had any free time at that point, but
I get away from you guys.
there's actually some really nice roads that I would go up and like go just camp by myself.
Oh, I bet.
And
Yeah.
it was so nice. I'd go and
Awesome.
I'd go and take a rifle or something like that and just shoot, or just there were some nights where I would just go up there and it would be like during the spring it was really nice because I'd just go up there and like under the stars just sleep.
Yeah.
Which I realize is probably a bad idea in the mountains of Utah because there's a ton of mountain lions up there.
Oh, okay.
And so like
You should have gone on you.
yeah, but if like I'm just lying there sleeping and a mountain lion decides to like just like bite my neck, like I'm not gonna like be able to like be out of my sleeping bag and like grab my gun and like
Yeah.
what this 200-pound mountain lion is just ripping my neck apart.
Yeah, I don't know the odds of mountain lion attacks. Do they like? Does a tent really deter them all that much, or like if they're
Well,
hungry,
at least
they're
it would be
hungry,
like-
right?
I mean, it would deter them a little bit because they can't see what's inside of it.
Okay.
Is my guess.
But are they smelling you? 'Cause
Sure,
they're-
yeah, for sure. But like, they're still a cat, right? They're still an ambush predator.
Yeah,
They're not like a bear.
Mm-hmm.
Like a bear bears are freaking nature's tanks.
Totally.
They just go like they're like, yeah, you exist and you look yummy. I'm gonna just destroy you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like you're gone, right? I think mountain lions are more like ambush predators and like predators of opportunity. So
Yeah.
if there's like a tent, that might provide enough of an obstacle for them to.
Okay. Or at least slow them down.
Yeah, at least slow them down to like be able to get a knife out or a gun out. Or
Speaking
something.
of bears, I read this random article this week. It was it's probably clickbaity, but hey, it got me. It was
It's the best clip in there.
I mean, grizzly bears versus Komodo dragons.
Okay, yeah, I read the crap out of that article.
You got to click on that immediately.
That's like a Magic the Gathering type face-off.
Yeah. The ultimate warrior, like. And
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
was the article of like, yeah, the grizzly bear is like the king of America, basically, and then the Komodo dragon, he's got Southeast Asia on lock. And then so they compared the stats of offensive ability, defensive ability, and all these like all the statistics. They broke it down. Grizzly bears can sprint up to 35 miles an hour, and that's
uphill too.
and that's how they prefer to like start a fight.
Yeah.
They'll just barrel into you. Like, holy cow! Komodo dragons, you know, for their strength, they can only get up to like 10 to 12 miles per hour. So like, you're not running away from a grizzly bear, at least like at the start of a fight.
Or ever.
Yeah.
Because they can just run for hours, probably.
And it's like, even depending on the environment, Komodo dragons, full size ones, they can't really climb trees anymore. Grizzly bears can climb trees, so that's even like.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
So they broke it down. They're like, a grizzly bear would totally win. Maybe if a Komodo dragon hunted in the most optimal settings, because they don't often just like fight things.
Yeah.
Their biggest like source of food is just carrion because they're lazy. But if they have to like hunt live prey, they'll just like nip it. They'll just
because then they just follow it around, right?
Yeah, they just follow it around for like weeks until it dies. It's not poison or venom per se. It's just a bacteria that literally makes the animal sick, and it falls over and dies. Like,
that's hilarious.
so they just like, that's how they prefer to hunt. If they have to, they'll just poison it a little bit. And they even compared the stats. They were like, the Komodo dragon's teeth might not even get through a grizzly bear's hide.
But does that matter if they have to reach the blood?
It does have to pierce. They think it's on their teeth or their saliva or something.
Yeah.
So they're pretty sure the Komodo dragon would have to break skin.
That's crazy.
They're used to hunting like deer, like water buffalo in their environment. So
yeah, so it's not like crazy thick skin.
Mm-hmm.
But what?
It's cool stuff.
Bears are so crazy. They're literally bulletproof.
No way.
Yeah. Like, not 100% bulletproof, right? But like you can't kill one with a 9mm.
Jeez.
Like, even like 45 ACP is like a guessing game. Like, most of the guides up there, they carry a 45, and they're like, yeah, this isn't for the bear, this is for me. Because I'd rather shoot myself on the head than fight a freaking bear.
The grizzly bear's just mauling me.
Yeah.
That's
It's
funny.
like, what the heck, man?
I've heard of that. I mean, like back in the day, like safari hunters, you know, they had like elephant guns, they call them, which I think were like 50 caliber.
Well, they're just crazy big bullets.
Yeah.
They're not really that powerful. They don't have a lot of power behind them.
Yeah. So do we need grizzly bear guns for?
Well, they have them. They do.
Oh.
They have, like, you can kill them, right?
Yeah.
But it's like tough. And if you use like a rifle cartridge, you can put them down. The problem is that it's like you said, they attack by charging at you at 30 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine 2 tons coming at you 30 miles an hour, and you have to shoot it within freaking 2 seconds, and then the momentum exists.
Even if he's dead.
Does it know it's dead? I don't think it knows it's dead until it's like, oh yeah, I'm actually dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, just keep going.
Barrel into you.
Yeah, there's a handgun cartridge. It's called a 454 Kazoo.
What?
It's this
kazoo?
Yeah, something like that. Like CASULL.
Okay.
Something like that.
54.
So it's a 45 caliber bullet, just chonky cartridge, right?
Yeah.
It's massive. And that's like a bear cartridge.
But you said handgun.
Yeah, because they make these revolvers. Like, when you think of like a revolver, you think of like a police revolver, like a Wild West revolver, right?
Yeah, well, 38 special.
Yeah, these ones are like the cylinders on those are like that big around,
Mm-hmm.
right? These ones have like the cylinders like that big
Jeez.
for like 5 rounds,
Man.
and it's just like it's like a hand cannon. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And like you get one shot off and your arm breaks, and then
Like, you
Not
gotta put like the rifle stock on your revolver.
yeah, by that point you might as well have like a 308 rifle to
Yeah,
shoot
sure.
it, right?
I always thought that was funny in video games. Like, yeah, you can customize. You're like, why would I put the rifle stock on the revolver? Just get a rifle.
Yeah. Yeah, like if I'm gonna have a rifle stock on a revolver that's in an intermediate cartridge, like 38 special or 357 or 44 long or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, why not just have like a submachine gun in 45 or a rifle, like a battle rifle in like 308,
There you
or
go.
even 223 or 7.62 by 39 or 5.45 by 39
Or the new one, 6.8.
Shoot,
5 point?
It's .277 Fury is like the cartridge, but then because it's a military rifle, they have to do it in metric because of NATO and junk.
Yeah.
So it's like a 6.8 by
That sounds right. Yep.
maybe 6.5.
I think they call this
6.5 by 50 or something like that. I don't remember. But it's 277 period.
Yeah.
Is what the actual like publicly available cartridges in the U.S.
Right.
But I mean, like any of those, like would be way better against anything than freaking 38 or 38 special or 357 Magnum.
Yeah.
It's just yeah.
Stopping bears though, good to know.
Yeah,
Gotta get
and that's
that
Grizzlies,
fork.
right? Like I
Yeah.
think black bears are a little bit different because they're way
They're
tinier.
smaller. Yeah.
And also, black bears you can just scare off.
Yeah.
They're not aggressive toward you. Not always aggressive toward
No,
you.
I think mostly they're just after your trash. Like,
Most of the
they
time.
just
Yeah.
want your food.
Yeah, they're scavengers compared to grizzlies. Grizzlies are like the battle tanks of the world. Black bears are like the garbage trucks of the world. Still don't want to get hit by one,
Sure,
but like it's not gonna just attack you.
you don't want to try to stop it.
Yeah, exactly.
Put your foot out.
Yeah, but if you raise your hand and like yell at it, it'll probably turn around. Why is that such a fitting description?
I'm trying. I can't think of how the analogy doesn't work. Yeah, all right. Tank, garbage truck.
Yeah.
Seems right.
Yeah, that's funny. Is there speaking of bears, segue? Ready for this?
Oh yeah.
Is there like a bear tribal deck you can do in Magic?
Yes.
Is it
Yes,
good?
it is.
Because I feel like it'd be fun.
It's pretty good.
Is
It's
it?
pretty good. The most popular one, well, then it even got slightly enhanced with a new one that came out. But the most popular one, she's in Magic lore, Magic the Gathering. She's called Ayula, Queen Among Bears, or something like that. Yeah, I don't think she has a dinky crown. I don't remember the art. But this is a pretty big looking bear. And the cool thing about it is that whenever another bear enters the battlefield, you get a choice between two effects.
Oh, cool.
The two pretty good effects. And the most important one is that you can have, I forget the wording on it. You can have one of your bears fight another target creature. So you can use it as removal anytime you play a bear. You can wipe something off the board, basically.
That's cool.
So it can be pretty destructive.
That's cool.
It's limited just in the fact that it's monocolor. It's only green, so you don't have access to all the strengths, all the removal options. But
Yeah, green has there's a big dearth of removal in green.
yeah.
There's like nothing.
Normally you're not good at creature removal, but again, that's on your commander to fight
Yeah,
other
that's
creatures
true. So you
with
don't
your
really
bears.
need it
So
necessarily.
you always have it, yeah.
That's kind of cool. If you could like flash in a bear,
Totally.
whatever you want, and then just like because of that, just like, yeah,
Yep.
my 10/10 bear fights your whatever.
Yeah. And then there's a new legendary one that just released. I remember the name. I don't remember the effect, but I know it helped bear travel decently because it helped you draw cards or something. Anytime you play like a high power creature. It's Surak and Goreclaw, who in Magic lore, Surak used to be like a big clan leader on his plane, and he fought Goreclaw. There's a card called Savage Punch, and it's him literally punching the bear. But now in the latest Magic set, they had the big bad guys, the Phyrexians, so they teamed up to go punch the bad guys.
Interesting.
That's kind of cool.
That is cool. Magic is like one of the things like that is, for me, it was something that I enjoyed doing only because my friends were doing it.
Sure, yeah.
Like it was something where it was like, yeah, I play Magic because I like to hang out with my friends.
Yeah,
not because I enjoy playing Magic.
The hobby you do when you get together, like
Right.
poker night or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like that's how like video games started for me as well. Whereas like I'm doing this mostly because I like hanging out with my buddies.
It's the multiplayer, the aspect,
Yeah.
the social. Yep.
And then it's become where it's like, okay, I actually enjoy like looking at cards and like theorizing like, oh, this would be kind of a cool deck, which is bad for me because I don't know any of the rules. Like we were just talking about that card that I added to my new deck that I just ordered.
And I was like, oh, I hate to tell you, it's
Yeah.
not legal.
And like I can't use it. I was like, well, freaking hey, man, I just like spent freaking $3 on this
I
card
already ordered
plus
it.
a gajillion dollars in shipping.
The shipping cost. Which
Yeah, I was telling you about that. That was like, so I have this new deck. It's a ninjutsu deck with what's the commander's name? Satoru Umezawa.
Yeah.
And what he lets you have any creature card in your hand. It has ninjutsu for 4 mana, basically, right?
cheat them out.
So you can cheat them, any creature out for 4 mana, and then they get all of their ETB effects and things like that. So I put a card in that is shoot, what's it called? I put this card in. It was, but the mana cost was like 7 mana and 2 blue.
Yeah,
or whatever.
He's a big chunker, 9 mana.
But he's a 5/5. But what he does is that on the beginning of your upkeep, you get to draw 2 cards instead of just 1 card. So like, oh, that's great. You know, extra card draw. I can get out a 5. I can get out for a 5/5 for 4 mana with extra card draw. That sounds great, right?
Seems fair. Yep.
But I thought that you could only have mana in your deck of the colors of your commander's mana.
Yes.
But the rule is that you can only have cards in your deck of your commander's colors.
It's the color identity of your commander.
And so I didn't know that the pips on like effects on a card were.
Yeah. That's not totally on you, because as far as the rules of Magic are concerned, that card is blue. And so that fits in a blue deck. But the commander rules, which are a little weird now because Wizards of the Coast used to be like hands off with Commander. It was originally a player made format.
Oh, interesting.
It was casual, and that's how it was for years. But now I don't even know how it is. Like, Wizards of the Coast started realizing that Commander products sell really well, and now it's their most popular format by far.
Sure.
So they sell directly for it. So I don't know if they're in charge of the rules for it right now. But the Commander rules say that color identity is different than the actual color of the card. So the color identity is all the colors on that card, all the little pips, all the symbols, everything. And so in this case, this guy had all 5 of the colored pips. So he's a 5-color identity card for the purpose of Commander.
Yeah, which like is really frustrating because when I went on to when I was trying to find a 9-drop creature
that was blue
or black, right? And so in Gatherer, in like the search engine or whatever, I had blue or black.
Yeah.
Right? And not anything else.
Scrolling down the list.
And then I said, converted mana value 9, right? Converted mana cost of 9 equals 9. And so this was like the 3rd one down. I was like, oh, this is like fantastic.
That's perfect.
Card draw, like decently chunky monster, 5/5 for 4 mana, like because of the ninjutsu and stuff like that.
Trample.
Yeah, trample. And I was like, oh, this is great, right? And then so I ordered it, and it's on its way. I can't use it.
It's on its way to the garbage bin.
Yeah. I'll probably just put it in a sleeve and say, okay, goodbye.
If it was significant enough, you could try to like return it, but they'd give you store credit online. But that is unfortunate, because you're relatively new into the hobby.
Well, and I thought that even if I can't pay that cost with my mana because like there's like the 5 different colors and my deck's only 2 colors, it's like, well, it's still a blue creature. I can still play the creature. Yeah. That's what I thought. So that's kind of frustrating that it's.
Yeah, that's.
When you were telling me about these bananas, the monkeys and the bananas or whatever.
This one confused me, and I've been playing Magic for 20 years. I don't know.
Since I was 6 years old.
Since I could read English. I don't know. This feels like that long. Maybe 15. I've been on and off. This one confused me because again, it's a commander rule, and that's Magic is commander now, basically. Even though there's other formats, nobody plays those. Commander is the most popular format. Anyway, this creature is green, so you think, okay, yeah, for commander, he's a mono green. He's only green, but one of his abilities makes a token, so it makes just a card you invent. It's not even a real card, but he makes a token that can give you red or green mana. And so on the monkey, this legendary monkey that can be your commander, he has a red pip on him. And so I was kind of back and forth, but I'm like, it has the red pip on the card, but it's not the monkey doing it. He's making a token. He's making a separate card that gives a red pip. And I think you even give them to other players or something. The monkey's like throwing bananas. I don't know.
Who comes up with these cards?
That's a fun job, I bet, but
that's like pulling out of your butt.
Yeah. side tangent. I've read some of the posts that they have of like, oh, let's take a deep dive into Magic design. When they do cards, they call it either top down or bottom down based on like how they design a card. And so if bottom down will be an instance of like, okay, we need a card that does X for this format, like make it work. And then a top down design is like, we want a monkey that throws bananas, like make that work in Magic rules. And so it's like, which side are you working from, basically? And so I'm sure that was just like, oh, we need a monkey and bananas. So we can do a Donkey Kong, alternate art later.
Oh, for sure, right?
Yeah, right.
Like they're definitely going to try and do that.
Totally. Anyway, so that confused me because it had the red color, and I had to go look it up. And sure enough, even though he makes a different card that has a red pip on it, he is still red and green for his color identity for the purposes of Commander. Yep. And like that's not obvious to newer players. Like
no, I would have never thought that.
Yeah.
Like especially because it's a separate card that they're making,
Mm-hmm.
that it's making, right?
Yeah.
That it's not his ability. It's not like that card's activated ability.
Yes.
Is tap a red and a green, or create a red and a green.
Mm-hmm.
It's make a token that you can sacrifice for a red. Tap, sacrifice, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a worse treasure token.
Yeah. Basically, but there's some weird mechanic where you give them to other players, but then you get a big benefit too.
Interesting.
If they
use it,
if they peel their bananas and eat them, he gets a +1/+1 counter or something.
Oh, so he gets chonky after.
Yeah.
Wow.
You throw the peels back at them.
Are there enough monkeys to make like a monkey tribal deck?
I looked into it because I wanted to make this commander because I thought it would be funny, but then he's like $30.
What the heck?
He's way too expensive. Yeah, he's not like amazing as far as commanders or creatures go, but he was just in a rare set called Jumpstart, where the booster packs were all like, how do I explain it? They were all like individualized. Like each booster pack had a theme, and there were like 30-something themes in the set, and so they were predetermined rarities of like what theme you would get, and his was like one of the most rare booster packs to get.
Interesting. That's why he's so expensive.
Yeah.
He's not enough people to hold him. Interesting.
So I looked into it. There is a surprising amount of monkeys in all of Magic history. It's not a very popular tribe, probably less so than bears, but there's a decent amount of green or green-red monkeys actually. So you could do a decent. I don't know if it would be super good. You'd probably be better off doing something because his ability was like, oh yeah, whenever an opponent sacrifices an artifact, the banana token that he made was an artifact, I think you get a 1/1 counter and gain 1 life or whatever. So that's probably a better theme to build around than like make a bunch of monkeys. But it is funny.
Yeah.
This is the monkey deck. Monkeying around. Gotta give it a fun nickname.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, that's true.
That's part of the fun of Commander.
That's true. I was frustrated with. I just was looking up when I was creating this ninja deck. I was looking up like ninja cards, right? Because if they have, I want cards that have ninjutsu on it, right? Just before I even use my commander. And I was looking it up, and there's a bunch of them that are green.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Like mono green ninjas.
Ninjas, yeah.
And so and this commander, and even the other ninja commander, the Empress Tigress Empress or whatever her name is.
Blue-black, yeah.
She's also blue-black. And so I was like you can't do, like, if you're doing a ninja tribal deck, you can't put these ninjas in it. And it's like a rat ninja or a snake ninja or like a whatever ninja. And I was like, when are you ever going to use these?
Yeah.
Like, you can't use it in a rogue deck because rogues are mostly blue.
Blue and black a little bit, yeah.
And so it's like, what do you, like...
That's really interesting coming from you, because that is the, how I mentioned there's other formats to Magic, but nobody plays those. A lot of cards are designed for those formats. So it is weird to see, like, I mean, they know Commander is what sells Magic, but then you still get cards like that where you're just like, and I'm sure those green ninjas were relatively new.
Yeah.
They were probably designed for a draft or a sealed environment.
Sure.
Where you just open up your booster packs, build a deck, and play right there.
Sure.
instead of commander. So that is interesting. Yeah, because now that you mention it, usually they would also release just like, hey, here's a green commander that has to do with ninjas as well.
Yeah,
like,
or like a green, blue, black.
yeah, if he's not very strong,
yeah,
but they still they want to sell those cards.
Yeah.
That is for the draft and for commander. But you're right. Yeah, those would be kind of worthless.
they were like I don't remember what they did. Right, there's like 3 or 4 that I saw, but they were like not bad.
Yeah,
Cards individually.
yeah,
right?
just by themselves.
Like they weren't bad. They weren't like, oh yeah, this creature gets +1 every time it attacks, and then those go away at the end of the turn. It's like, oh great, so I pay 3 mana for a 2/2, and then it gets 1 power every time it attacks, but then it goes away at the end of the turn. It's like, okay,
that's bulk. That's worthless.
yeah. But then there's some ninjas are like, what the heck, man? How is that? Like I was looking at some, and it's like, $1 for the card or whatever, like relatively cheap card, and it was like untrained eye, right?
Yeah.
I was like, this feels really OP because it was like every time it ETBs, like you draw 3 cards or something like that.
Oh jeez, yeah.
And like with ninjutsu, like it ETBs a lot.
Yeah,
right.
And it's easy. It's cheap.
Because I was looking this up, ninjutsu is really cool because so the effect is unblocked attacking creatures can be ninjutsu'd. You can ninjutsu in a ninja or a creature that has ninjutsu into the space where an unblocked attacking creature was. So you can replace them,
you
right?
swap them, right?
And then damage is dealt. But during that combat phase, even after damage is dealt, you can ninjutsu another creature in to that same spot, even if it already did damage, because it's still technically an unblocked attacking creature.
Yes, that's the end of combat step.
Yeah.
In the rules of the game that is hardly ever relevant. It's usually just like a little cleanup of just like you get rid of all the until end of combat abilities or whatever, or you can ninjutsu in again a second time.
Yeah, and so like for me, it's like, okay, well, like, so I have a creature that I put in that is the 7 mana card for like an 8/8 or something like that. Yeah. But it has it's like one of it's a colorless creature. Maybe an artifact creature, but it doesn't untap during your untap step. You have to pay like its mana cost or something like that to untap it.
Sure.
But if I just ninjutsu it in, do a stupid amount of damage, and then ninjutsu it out,
put them back in your hand,
and then my creature will untap it my turn again, so I don't have to pay the mana, and then I can just ninjutsu him in again.
Do that same guy.
It's like
turn.
Yeah. So it's like
the more it's cool seeing you go through the journey because the more that you build decks, like you build strategy, you start to understand the game at a deeper level. Like you can just play the game and understand and have fun, like the basic rules. But like building decks yourself, you have to know like how the phases of the game work and how different things synergize together, and that I love the strategy aspect of the whole process of deck building to playing the game. Yeah,
it's pretty cool. It's been really fun to try to put this deck together because like I'm not good at it, and like I'm sitting there like, I don't know, do I have enough freaking mana? Like I don't know. And then like all of a sudden there's like a sub theme to this deck of like card draw.
Yeah.
Because I have like I didn't have enough ramp in it, but a lot of the cards that I have, like their ETB is you draw cards, or like this other card where it's like you get to draw 2 cards of or your upkeep,
start your turn.
And like I have some other cards in there that are like no maximum hand size and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
What's up? Are you just?
No, it's time.
Oh, I think
there was 6 minutes left on my timer, which is like our first cutoff to like see if there's a good stopping point, and then Steven's timer.
Yeah, it's 40 minutes after that.
40 minutes after that is like the hard cutoff.
Are we getting kicked out? We can.
No, I just did no.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I guess we did forget to say.
So I was like,
my bad.
Yeah. So I don't know. Probably end here a couple minutes after yours, probably.
Yeah.
I guess
we can try to jump into one more topic.
Yeah.
We have like an hour 20. We want to be like our minimum of like an 80-minute podcast. But then wherever there's a natural stop in between 1 hour 20 and 2 hours.
It's kind of our goal. Yeah. So
was just like,
I thought, no, it's not fine. It's not
well,
wrong.
no, it was like, well, coming up on the hour 20.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wow, what is it, an hour and a half? What is it?
Oh,
And so I just didn't know. So I was like,
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's funny. We got to get earpieces so you can like talk into our ears. Like,
yeah, I know, right?
you can feed us.
You can be our what's his name, Jamie on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Oh yeah, his
He has like his tech guy, like producer or whatever, who like looks up stuff like all the time.
Huh.
You could do that, like when we're trying to figure out what the freaking name of the card is. We're trying to mention it. You could just be
card
like,
or what it
it's
does.
this.
Yeah.
A voice in my head is telling me the answer.
I can't remember this, but
It's
Now I
definitely
remember.
Assassin Infiltrator the Third, like just random name.
We give you like a board, you can just write on it behind the camera and be like, yes, now I remember what the card is, it does this.
They're Umbra of the Tree Genesis. Like
I have a perfect memory, yes.
would you like a segue topic?
Sure.
Yeah, I like it. What do you throw at us?
Oh, this is a Jim Beam liquor bottle that we bought at the Grill for $4.
This is sick.
Right? It's a collector's bottle made from 1960s. Do you want to guess how much it's worth?
Oh.
Don't tell me until Trevor has it, because I don't want to be the one that has like $300 worth of stuff in his hand or something. Am I supposed to open this or not?
You can. There's a cork in it.
I'm trying to. I don't want to like pull up too hard though. Does it like?
It should just
Use some fuerza.
Is that how it's supposed to go? I don't know. I'm gonna pull it back in. Wasn't me. Let's see. How much do you think? Do I think this is? It's a Jim Beam.
Jimmy Dean. They make breakfast sausages.
Not Jimmy Dean. Jim Beam. The liquor company.
1960s bottle.
It's got a Plato, Aristotle, and Socrates on it on
No
one
way.
side and on both sides. Yeah.
It's kind of cool, actually.
It's
Yeah.
right there. Well, how much did you pay like what it's worth, or did you like just find it?
I spent $4 on it.
You spent $4 on it. Okay.
So great.
I'm gonna guess it's worth. You spent $4. It's just a bottle, not full of liquor. I also don't know how much liquor costs.
Right.
Old liquor from the 60s.
That's true,
That'd be worth.
but it's not full. So,
Yeah.
my guess
anymore, at
is $70. What do you think?
70?
I said 70. I don't know if that's high or way low.
It's not filled with liquor. I mean, it's got to be collectible. Look at this thing.
It's pretty dope.
It is a collector's edition. Yes.
It's pretty dope. Like I would buy that if I was just
I mean,
alcoholic.
compared to my picture, this is a poor man's picture right here. And
What is
so
a plastic form Chinese made?
this is less than
It's made.
$4.
Yours is made out of the finest Chinesium.
The Chinese. I'm not aware of that element.
Yeah,
I thought I was an
chemical-
expert.
Mr. Chemical Engineer over here doesn't know what Chinesium
I'll have
is.
to go back to school. Man. It just pours. That's pretty cool. You said 70. I'm thinking this thing has got to be.
You going Price is Right 71? Is that?
I win! Wow. No, I'm gonna say. Because that's well made. That's got to be $300.
Jeez, that's how. All right, so we've had our guesses.
I don't know.
Are we? Well, give us like hot or cold. Are we hot or cold on our prices?
You're pretty hot. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
Oh,
thank you. I
okay.
appreciate
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
You were fishing for that, weren't you?
I was a little bit.
Say I'm hot. Tell me I'm pretty.
Tell me I'm
A little over $60.
Wow.
For
$4.
and we got like 20 of those.
No.
Oh, jeez. Freaking A.
That's
You
that's
paid like $80 for wow.
that's a good return on your investment.
Yeah,
I'd
that's a
say.
pretty good ROI.
I'm not a math guy, but
I was for a little bit. It's pretty nice. It's pretty cool. Like I would definitely like if I saw that for $4 and like needed a picture for something, or like just wanted it for like a D&D campaign or something to like have like a tavern pop. Like
that
that'd
looks
be dope.
pretty. That's a good.
It's pretty dope. Like even our wives would probably be like, yeah, we can have that around.
Yeah.
because it's kind of cool.
Whereas most of my decorations is like, no, don't put that in the
You
living
get
room.
decorations?
I get in the game room. I can do whatever I want in the game room. So that's where all the Star Wars posters are at. I've got a model of The Witcher and Master Chief.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Halo. Yeah,
That's
she's
cool.
like, that's where I put all the nerd stuff.
Down here? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but she's like, no, you keep everything in the game room. I do have Warhammer figurines up now. That's a new addition. But nothing else. She's like, in the living room is normal. That's my place. That's right.
Well, so when we were in our apartment,
It's fine. Nothing happened.
It scared the shit out of me.
You broke the $80 vase.
Oh, dude.
no, when Ryan and I were in our apartment in Utah, I got the freaking office space,
Oh yeah.
but only like a third of the office space because she took the rest of it up with her. We had like a little bit like we used the so it was the we were in a 2-bedroom 2-bath apartment, right?
Oh okay.
And so the office was just the other bedroom, right?
Yeah,
And so the closet was full of like storage stuff that we were just like we had crates and stuff in there, and, like pens and other stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then she had her desk and like bookshelves and stuff like that, where I could store my books, but like they had to be like set up correctly.
Yes.
And then I had like my desk and like a shelf above my desk,
Oh okay.
and like one wall to do stuff.
One wall.
Literally, like she gave me one wall where I could put all my stuff, and then the rest of it was like my desk. And then I had like a little, I had these little cubbies behind my desk that I could use.
So the first,
But, like-
storage.
Like when I was in school, so like most of my desk space was covered up with school bull crap, right? And like
Notes and.
so I didn't really have like any space for like anything on the wall, so I didn't have like any place to like put my stuff. So all my stuff was in storage.
Oh man.
But as soon as we get like a real like place to live, when we get a house, the garage is mine.
Oh yeah. Totally.
The garage is mine, and I'm gonna put a split unit AC in it.
Yes, that's
so that I can just chill out there and like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta have AC though, but that is.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the
Right?
value.
Yeah.
We're looking at this house we're probably gonna be moving into here soon. There is they did an addition onto the original house. So it's like kind of a little sunroom, basically that they're using as like an office, and so that's probably gonna be the new like the game room. Oh, cool, the sunroom. I think I mentioned because we talked about how it's not a bedroom because it doesn't have a closet.
Yeah.
So that's more or less gonna be mine. I'm like, oh man, it's kind of nice actually. I have more than just like I said the 2 or 3 posters. I can actually decorate the whole thing. We haven't even talked about the garage, but that's probably also mine too. That's just extra. I was content with the one game room, but I'll take the garage as well. That's kind of exciting. That's kind of like a step up in your quality of life. Of like you have your man cave.
Yeah.
Decorate it however you want. You
Yeah.
got the nerd stuff, the manly stuff, the guns.
Dude, I'm so excited because I've already like designed in my head like what the garage I want is gonna be.
Nice.
And it's gonna have I'm gonna have like a 3D printing area.
Oh yeah. That's
Right?
good.
Because I want to get one of the what is their brand name? The Bamboo Labs.
Yeah, you told me that's the super
the
7
super
direction.
Yeah. It's super cool.
Yeah.
I also want to get a mini CNC machine
Oh,
up
yeah.
there for like small metal projects with
Mhm.
like wood or plastic.
That's a good idea.
I don't need like one of the big old like Bridgeport
No.
massive like 24 by 24 inch travel or whatever. I just need like 6 inches by 6 inches of travel or something. Or, like 6 inches by 4 inches of travel. Just because I want to do like some small stuff. And then I'm gonna have like a gun bench.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so nice. I'm gonna have like the levels and like the gun vices and
Mhm.
all the tools.
We're working on things, we're cleaning them, even.
Yeah, it's gonna be so nice. It's gonna be so nice just to have them up there, and then like have like all my parts organized for my guns because I have way too many parts for the guns that I have.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have more.
There will be more.
Yeah, but just like like storage above it where I can like grab like a different optic or something
Mhm.
like that, or a different charging handle or.
Yeah, that's the dream.
It's gonna be so nice. I'm so excited.
Thank you.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Whereas I'm planning like, yes, more Warhammer figurines. Cover the shelves and them.
Well, I have to figure out.
And a little craft area too. So I can,
Yeah.
so I can build things.
Well, I just have to figure out what I need to sit down with Sir Colin over here and figure out my Warhammer
Oh yeah.
army.
What you gonna do? 3D printed?
Yeah, because I have to have some human rust tanks. I have to have some of the mobile artillery units, or whatever they're called.
The heavy weapons teams.
Yeah, whatever. And then I have to have a stupid amount of. I have to have some Krieg engineers.
Yes.
Because those guys are OP.
Wearing the gas masks and everything.
And then I have to have some Krieg sharpshooters because those guys are also really cool. But then after that, I just have to have like the rest of my army with a stupid amount of dudes.
Oh yeah.
Because Krieg go march.
A stupid amount of men just to freaking storm the trenches.
Yeah, I've been looking up like the lore behind them and stuff like that. And you weren't there on Thursday. We were reading about it.
Yeah.
And like, apparently the reason that the Krieg is like such a powerful military force is because their home planet was just like nuked for 400 years.
Jeez.
And so that's why they all wear gas masks, is because
Yeah.
they live on a planet that is nuked.
Yeah.
And so they live underground, and so to go above ground and fight, they have to wear gas masks.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's
But-
the story. Yeah.
And then, so
Not that living that would be cool.
no. But then one of the funnier aspects was he was talking about how there's like the commissars.
Mhm.
The commissars are put there over the Krieg units by like the emperor, right? They're like a normal.
Okay.
They're not like Krieg commissars.
They're like embassies.
Yeah. So they're ambassadors, like, but like over them.
Mhm.
And it was really funny in the flavor text or whatever. It was like commissars normally need to rally their troops and provide morale and support for their troops so that they keep charging into battle. Commissars that are over Krieg units are there to rein in any extra zeal that they might have.
Oh yeah, they have to bring them down.
Yeah, they have to bring them down because they're just like apparently just their mentality is just like go all the time.
Yeah, they're so hyped up.
It's kind of fun. So yeah, I have to do that. I have to sit down with Colin, figure that out, and then get them all printed and painted.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
We'll have plenty more to talk about.
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
And that's all she wrote. Thanks for watching this episode of the 5G Podcast.
We appreciate your time and your comments.
As always, you can find us on all of the social medias, such as Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
You can also listen to the 5G Podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
Again, thank you for watching the 5G Podcast. We hope to see you next week. Alright guys, next week we're planning on talking about a couple new things. We're going to talk about some new movies that came out.
And hopefully also talk about the new Zelda game, Tears of the Kingdom.
Hope to see you guys there. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. Boom.
It'll be a blast.